Hindi na talaga. So, this will be the last video lecture on animal nutrition, which is on the different classification of feedstuff. So, for the past three video lectures, I've discussed about the different terminologies. I've discussed about the elemental composition and the different classes of nutrients. Now, we'll talk about um, the feedstuff itself. So, how will this, um, what are the classification of feedstuff and um, ano yung mga feedstuff na mas mataas yung ganitong nutrients, ano yung feedstuff na mas mataas yung energy, ng carbohydrates, ng mga proteins. Ganon yung i-discuss ko for this video lecture. So, when it comes to classification of feedstuff, hindi lang siya iisa, hindi lang siya dadalawa. So, ang importance kasi when it comes to classification of feedstuff is that you can identify what feedstuff is needed in order to meet the nutrient requirement of the animal. So, by correctly identifying those feedstuff, you can provide the animal with the correct amount of nutrients in order for the animal to become productive. So, that is the importance of properly classifying our feedstuff. So, when it comes to the primary categories of feedstuff, we actually have the roughages. So, first will be the roughages. When we say roughages, um, laging tatandaan that it is high in fiber. So, when we say high in fiber, the crude fiber, I hope you know kung ano yung crude fibers because I've discussed that during the second video lecture on proximate analysis. So, if the crude fiber is more than 18%, then it is already classified as roughages. So, aside from that, the roughage mainly is lower in energy compared to the other um, type of feedstuff natin. Okay? So, an example ng mga roughages natin, you have yung hay, straw, or stover. Basically, these are considered dry roughages kasi nga they are dried first, usually under the sun, and then after drying, they are stored in order uh, for the farmers to utilize it comes the time that there will be no or there is a scarcity in grasses, in fresh grasses. So, ito yung ginagamit nila. So, like for example, itong nasa picture, this is considered as a hay. So, makikita na dry siya. Okay? Then, you have yung mga silages natin. Yung silages naman, um, same purpose ng mga dry roughages natin na ginagamit pag wala ng available na fresh forage or fresh grasses. Pero itong silages naman natin, it is fermented. Okay, fermented forages like for example, corn silage, grass silage. So itong nasa picture naman, yung second picture, that is considered as a silage. So pag sinabing fermented, nilalagay yan sa isang container, airtight container na walang oxygen. Dapat walang oxygen sa loob para ma-ferment ng maayos. Anyway, I hope you can experience that um, for your laboratory. Okay? And then for the pasture, you have fresh grasses and legumes. So basically, itong third picture, wala kang ginagawa na processing. Wala kang ginagawa na kahit anuman. Basically, these are the most common type ng ravages mo na makikita. Yung mga pasture, fresh grasses and legumes na ginagamit, na hina-harvest, tapos binibigay sa animal as fresh. Okay? So that's the ravages. Ngayon, um, ano yung characteristic nitong roughages natin? So, it is essential, especially for ruminants, to maintain rumen function. Anong ibig sabihin yan? Bakit ba kailangan or importante sa mga ruminants natin itong mga roughages na to? One thing is that yung rumen kasi, it houses a lot of microbes. Ano yung mga microbes? Ito yung mga bacteria, protozoa, fungi, mga ganon. And itong microbes na to, they aid in the digestion. especially ng carbohydrates, ng proteins. Ngayon, itong microbes na to, they are living organism. Buhay ang mga yan. So, saan sila kukuha ngayon um, ng mga nutrients naman nila para mabuhay sila? Yung pagkukunan nila is actually itong mga kinakain ng mga ruminants. Kumukuha sila doon, i-utilize nila para sa ganun, meron silang nutrients para makapag-multiply and eventually will maintain the function of the rumen. Kaya kailangan na bigyan mo ng roughages. Laging tatandaan ito, kailangan na bigyan mo ng roughages, ng forages, ng grasses, yung mga ruminant mo. Hindi pwede na iisang pure, na, like for example, one lang yung diet ng ating ruminant. Okay? Then aside from that, it provides bulk and stimulate chewing and saliva production pag binagyan mo sila ng roughages. And by doing so, mas um, basically na-increase yung feed intake, gana, kumbaga. Then, nutrient content varies with plant maturity and species. Ang ano nito, pag masyadong matanda na, especially pag plant maturity, pag masyadong matanda na yung, like for example, itong grasses na ito, mas mataas na yung mga lignin, hemicellulose, cellulose na tinatawag, yung parts ng plant cell wall. And pag mataas na masyado yung content ng mga yon or yung percentage ng mga yun, nagiging indigestible na or mahihirapan nang i-digest ng ruminant. Kaya nagvavary na. Mas konti na lang yung nutrients na nakukuha ng mga ruminants pag masyado nang matanda yung grasses. So as much as possible, it should be in the appropriate age. Hindi naman pwede na masyadong bata yung grass na a month old or a day old, a week old lang kasi highly digestible, it can cause metabolic disorder din, and then at the same time, hindi pa siya properly matured enough na it can provide the proper nutrients. Okay? So, kailangan na i-harvest mo ng at the correct time yung at the correct maturity yung mga grasses. And then when it comes to species, given na yan, hindi naman lahat ng mga grasses, hindi na lahat naman ng mga forages is pare-pareho yung binibigay na nutrient content. Iba yung nutrient content, like for example, ng Napier grass, iba yung nutrient content, like for example, ng Centrosema na forage, na roughage. So, magkakaiba yan. So, ang importante lang, yung grass or yung plant species na binibigay mo is maganda yung quality. Maganda yung binibigay na nutrient. Then, we also have concentrates. Pag sinabi naman concentrates, ang definition nito, more or less parang kabaliktaran ng roughages wherein feeds are low in fiber. So, yung mga feeds that are less than 18% crude fiber, then they are considered as concentrates. And aside from that, they are high in energy or protein. So, kabaliktaran lang ng roughages. Already, kabesa yun lang DJ roughage. Baliktarin nyo lang the definition. More or less, yun na yung concentrate natin. Kasi yung roughage kanina, high in fiber. So, more than 18%, then that is a roughage. Pag concentrate, that is low in fiber, less than 18%. Tapos si roughages kanina, more or less low in energy, si concentrates high in energy or protein. Okay? Ngayon, we have subcategories when it comes to concentrates natin. You have the energy concentrates and the protein concentrates. So when we say energy concentrates, as the name implies, these are concentrates that are high in energy or provides energy to the animal. So like for example, cereal grains natin, corn, barley, oats, yung molasses natin is actually an energy concentrate. So again, these are concentrates that are low in fiber, high in energy. Kaya nga sila tinawag na energy concentrates. Now we go sa protein concentrates. Ano naman yung mga protein concentrates? Ito, as the name implies again, these are concentrates that are high in protein. So, ito yung mga soybean natin, soybean meal, cottonseed meal, fish meal. So, more or less yung mga meals na feedstuff natin, ito yung mga matataas yung protein. Okay? So, especially yung mga animal source, yung mga galing sa animals, mataas yung protein. Pero, aside from yung mga animal source, yung soybean kasi, it is comparable to the protein content. It is comparable with that of the animals. Kaya, popular na ginagamit yung soybean. Okay? So, ano yung characteristic? Ano yung characteristic um, ng ating concentrate? So, used to meet the energy and protein requirements of animals, especially in high-producing animals. Anong ibig sabihin nito? Ang mga high-producing individuals or animals na sinasabi dito are those that are producing milk, producing eggs, producing meat. Basically, yung mga inaalagaan mo na nagpro-produce ng mga products na binebenta mo, they are considered as high-producing individuals or animals. Ngayon, um, pag nagpro-produce sila ng mga animal products, given na yan na mas madami yung kailangan nilang energy and protein. Like for example, yung manok mo na nangingitlog araw-araw, hindi sapat na yung binibigay mo lang is for its maintenance. Para lang mabuhay yung animal. Hindi siya makakaproduce ng eggs. So, kailangan na bigyan mo siya ng mas madaming protein, mas madaming energy para ma-meet yung nutrient requirement. Bakit ba kailangan na ma-meet yung energy and protein requirement ng isang animal? Kasi kung na-meet niya yung mga requirements na yan, then makakapag-produce siya ng animal product. Bakit ba importante to? Kasi nga, binebenta mo yung animal product. So magkakapera ka kung mas productive yung animal. Okay? And mas magiging productive siya pag binibigyan mo siya ng concentrate. Kaya nga, kahit na yung, like for example, yung goat or sheep mo na sa buong buhay niya, ang kinakain lang is grasses and forages, padasem tumod nga ikanti concentrate that no mas maging productive iso na. Okay? Then, aside from that, another characteristic ng ating concentrate, it is more digestible than raffages. So, um, kasi nga, ano na yun eh, grains na to, compared sa grasses na mataas yung fiber, ito, hindi masyado mataas yung fiber, so, mas digestible talaga siya. Okay? Then, you also have, aside from raffages, aside from concentrates, you also have what we call as supplements and additives. Ito hindi siya masyadong popular na binibigay ng mga farmers. Why? Because when you compare it sa raffages, that is basically free. Kumbaga, basta ada talon mo, ada agtubtubo nga grasses, na raffages, ada imo lang nga grasses and raffages. Then, meron kang pagkukunan. Same goes to our concentrates. This is more readily available as long as you process yung mga grains, yung mga tuyo that is considered as concentrate and mas cheaper siya. Okay? For supplements and additives kasi, ano yan? Binibili. Okay? Ordinary farmers does not have the means to actually make itong supplements and additives. So, they are left with the option na bilhin. Ngayon, ayaw naman ng farmers na ganun. Okay, na bibili ka. Especially since ordinary farmer usually handa unay nga ikikan ito dagiti supplements and additives. Pero ako na yung nagsasabi na it is necessary also that you provide them with supplements, you provide them with additives. Okay? So, ano yung supplements and additives? These are non-energy, non-protein substances added to diets to fulfill specific nutritional needs. Ang ibig sabihin yan, hindi sila energy source, hindi sila protein source, pero meron silang binibigay na nutrient para ma-meet yung requirement or yung nutritional need ng animal. So like for example, mineral supplement. Yung mga mineral supplements natin, like for example, galing sa limestone, dicalcium phosphate, they provide calcium to the animal. Aside from that, meron kang nabibili sa mga farm supply na mineral and vitamin premix supplement. O, yun, nandun na lahat ng mineral. Imimix mo lang doon sa concentrate na kakainin, then you provide them with the needed mineral. Okay? Same goes sa vitamin supplements natin. You have vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, preparations. All of these are supplements na binibigay mo. Usually, binibili mo sa farm supply tapos ibibigay mo sa animal. Then, aside from that, you also have additives. Ito hindi masyadong ginagamit ng mga farmers, ordinary farmers. Yung mga commercial farms, yung mga companies talaga, yes, ginagamit nila. Because they have the means to produce so, or they have the means, resources to buy itong mga to. So, ito yung mga enzymes, probiotics, antibiotics, antioxidants that all have different functions that will help overall on the productivity of the animal. So, do I recommend this when it comes to ordinary farmers that are raising only one or two or three? Maganda din. Okay? Maganda din. Especially if you want the animal to grow properly, if you want the animal to become productive, these additives are also recommended. Pero you should look at it at a economical standpoint. Pag hindi mo naman talaga afford, nakikita mo naman na nagkaka-profit ka, then wag muna. Pero kung gusto mo talagang i-elevate yung production mo, then doon papasok itong additives natin. Okay? So, ano yung purpose? Ano yung purpose ng mga supplements and additives natin? Yung purpose nitong mga to is to correct or prevent nutrient deficiency. So, yung mga raffages concentrates kasi natin, more or less yung binibigay nun is energy source, carbohydrates, protein source, or even fats. Pero itong mga supplements and additives, pero yung mga raffages and concentrates, medyo mababa yung vitamins and minerals nila. So, dito papasok yung mga supplements natin and additives. That is to correct or prevent nutrient deficiency. So, kung binigyan mo to, then you are ensured that you are providing them with the mineral, the requirement na kailangan nila, ng nutrient requirement na kailangan nila. Then, aside from that, it also enhances feed efficiency and animal performance. Kasi nga you are meeting na or you are satisfying the requirement of the animal, the nutrient requirement of the animal, then more or less, given na yan, na yung result will be a better performing animal. So, again, it is important that you provide them with supplements and additives. So, those are your primary categories of feedstuff. Again, you have yung ravages, you have yung kabaliktaran ng ravages, more or less, when it comes to the definition, is concentrate, and then you have your supplements and additives. So those are your primary categories of feedstuffs. Now we go sa classification by origin. Anong ibig sabihin nito? When it comes to classification by origin, saan galing? Yun lang. Okay? Saan galing ba yung feedstuff na yon? So, kung iisipin, saan ba galing yung mga pinapakain natin? Baka yung unang sagot ninyo will be yung mga plants, which is correct. Pero pwede rin na yung mga feedstuff natin galing yan sa animal. Anyway, madidiscuss mamaya sa mga sa mga coming slides. Pero again, yung unang maiisip will be plant. Kasi nga sa 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 kambing, sa cattle, o plant yung kinakain. Originated from plant. Sa mga baboy, ano yung mga pinapakain? Yung mga tuyo, yung mga tuyo, yung mga corn, saan galing yan? Sa plant. Okay? So, plant origin feedstuff, like for example, yung mga cereal grains natin, corn, wheat, barley, all of this comes from the plant, obviously. Legumes naman natin, usually these are high in protein. So, yung alfalfa, clover, oilseed meals, again, these are all coming from plants. You have soybean meal, canola meal, and then yung mga byproducts, you have bran, molasses, peat, and pulp. So, when we say byproducts, these are not the main product these are products originated from the main product. Basically, you are processing the plant to produce this main product, and at the same time, by processing this plant, you are also producing a byproduct. Kumbaga, it is a waste, quote unquote waste. Kasi nga hindi mo naman kailangan yan, hindi naman yun yung intention mo, hindi naman yun yung intended na maproproduce mo na product. Pero, again, um, pwede pa rin ma-utilize itong mga to. Kaya nga tinawag na byproduct. Like for example, sa brand, because ipaba yung DJ Eric, you produce yung rice and then ang byproduct nun is rice bran. Mga ganun. Okay? So, yan yung mga plant origin feedstuff natin. Ngayon, yung mga plant origin feedstuff natin, they are the primary source of carbohydrates natin and more or less some proteins. So, um, like for example, yung mga rice bran corn natin, talagang matataas yung energy nila. Matataas yung energy content nila. Kaya sila yung primary source of energy natin. Okay? Then, availability and nutrient content can vary based on processing methods. Ano yung mga processing methods, pelleting, mga ganun, grinding, hindi na natin itatakil masyado. Pero, laging tatandaan, hindi magkakaparehas yung nutrient content ng mga to. Okay? Yun yung laging tatandaan when it comes to our plant origin feedstuff. Especially pag you subject them to to different processing method, mag-iiba yung nutrient content. Okay? So that's plant origin feedstuff. Self-explanatory, saan galing sa plant. Yun lang. Okay? And then you have your animal origin feedstuff. Ano naman itong mga to? So example of these are your meat and bone meal. That they are high in protein and minerals. You have your fish meal, the excellent protein source with essential amino acids, and then milk byproducts like for example whey, skim milk, powder. So all of those obviously comes from the animal. So meat and bone meal, high in protein and mineral yan kasi nga bone, kasi nga meat. Okay? So baka iniisip ninyo, sayang lang. Especially meat meal. Ano yung meat meal? Pwede naman kainin na lang ng humans yung meat meal. Ang ginagamit when it comes to meat is yung mga um, parang ano na, rejected. Hindi naman siya dangerous to consume ng mga animals. Pero when it comes to the quality, reject na siya for human consumption. So yun yung ginagamit for meat. Yung bone meal naman, hindi naman tayo kumakain ng bones. More or less, hindi. So, um, pwedeng gamitin. So, parang byproduct na rin to ng animal carcass. So, pwedeng gamitin yan for as feedstuff. Then, sa mga fish meal, again, parang ganun din. It is excellent protein source with essential amino acid. Pwede bang gamitin? Pwede naman kainin yung fish. Pwede. Pero yung mga ginagamit usually dito is yung mga maliliit, mga anchovy fish, kumbaga, that are cheaper and they can be utilized or they can be value added if they are processed into fish meal. Kaya merong fish meal pa rin. And then yung mga milk byproducts natin, ito yung mga whey, yung mga skim milk powder, all of this, pag nagpo-produce ka ng milk, or yung drinking, yung pasteurized milk na, usually, meron ding mga byproduct ka na produce. Okay? Which can be utilized as feedstuff. So, consideration when it comes to animal origin feedstuff, it is highly digestible and rich in essential nutrients, and usage may be restricted due to regulations and disease transmission concerns. So, mataas yung nutrient content ng mga animal origin feedstuff natin. Ang problema dito is the difficulty and they are highly digestible. Ang problema dito is the difficulty of processing it kasi nga galing yan sa animal source. Um, it can be more complicated compared sa plant sources, especially since may mga regulations tayo um, and concerns when it comes to disease transmission. Kasi basically galing sa animal yan. Hindi naman siya galing sa plant source na, okay, um, mas simpler, kumbaga, yung processing kasi nga galing lang sa plant. Sa animals kasi it is usually ridden with bacteria. Baka may mga viruses or bacteria na hindi nakita, and if it is not properly processed, it can lead to disease transmission, especially if zoonotic yung disease or pwedeng maipasa sa mga humans. Okay? So yan yung ano natin, limitation natin when it comes to animal origin feedstuff. Aside from that, mas expensive kasi itong mga animal origin natin. Feedstuff originated from animals compared sa plant. Okay? Then we also have what we call as non-protein nitrogen sources. So you have um, feedstuff coming from the plants, you have feedstuff coming from the animals, and then you have itong non-protein nitrogen sources natin. Ano yung non-protein nitrogen sources? So basically, these are your urea, burette. Pag sinabing non-protein nitrogen, nandyan na yung definition. Hindi sila protein, pero they are still providing nitrogen. Remember, sa classes of nutrients natin, yung protein natin kasi, it is composed of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and the last one will be nitrogen. So meaning, our protein is considered as a nitrogen source. Or yung mga mga feedstuff natin that are high in protein, they are also providing nitrogen. Okay? Pero hindi lang naman si protein yung merong nitrogen content na pwedeng ibigay sa animal. So, kaya nga meron tayong non-protein, hindi sila protein, pero they are also providing nitrogen. So, you have yung urea and burette. Urea and burette, these are chemicals that are usually used for, especially ureas, that are usually used for plants. Are these safe para sa mga animals? The answer is yes or no. Yes for ruminants, no for monogastric animals. Okay? Kasi nga, for ruminants, they are utilized, itong mga non-protein nitrogen natin, to synthesize microbial protein in the rumen and basically provide the animal, the ruminant, with the protein that it needs. Bakit ba? Bakit kaya ng mga ruminants, like for example, yung kambing, at hindi kaya ng baboy? Kasi yung kambing, meron siya nitong rumen that can actually degrade because of the microbes in the rumen that can actually degrade itong urea. Nagre-release sila ng enzyme called urease para i-break down itong urea. Sa baboy, walang ganon. Okay? Hindi sufficient or hindi yung mga microbes sa gut niya, sa large intestine niya, walang sufficient amount of nitong enzymes na to na nire-release para ma-degrade ng maayos yung urea. So, mamamatay lang yung baboy. Pero sa mga ruminants, pwedeng ipakain yung urea. Pero again, merong limitation lang. I think it is 1% of the total dry matter intake ng animal, yun lang dapat. So, ang ibig sabihin lang yan, you must be very careful to in providing these non-protein nitrogen sources to prevent toxicity. Kung masyado namang madami yung pinakain mo na urea doon sa animal mo, mamamatay yan because of toxicity. So, please be careful. Hindi porket sinabi ng teacher ninyo na pwedeng ipakain yung urea sa mga kambing, sa mga cattle ninyo, eh yun na yung gagawin. Okay? Um, please be careful. Do not do it purely. Like, what I mean by that is that ipakain mo ng pure yung urea. Okay? Merong processing pa rin na ginagawa for that. So those are your classification of feedstuff based on origin. Then we also have classification of feedstuff based on nutrient content. Dito papasok yung energy feeds natin. So as the name implies, alam na ninyo kung ano yung binibigay niyan. So yung binibigay niyan is energy. So you have their high, ang characteristic niya, high in digestible carbohydrates. So, pero low in protein siya, less than 20%, and low in fiber din siya, less than 18%. So, those are your energy feeds. Example of these are your cereal grains, molasses, fats, and oils. Okay? Then you have protein feeds. Ano naman yung protein feeds mo? You have the characteristic contains more than 20% crude protein. And then as the definition or function ng ating protein, they are essential for growth, for reproduction, and lactation. So example of this, you have yung oilseed meal, animal byproducts, legumes, all of these are considered protein feeds. So madali lang i-memorize kasi pag sinabing energy feeds, mas more than kung mas mataas yung energy content, then that is considered energy. So energy feeds. Pag sinabi naman protein feeds, pag mataas yung protein content, more than 20%, then that is considered as protein feeds. Okay? Then you have the classification by um, yung mineral and vitamin supplements. To purpose naman nito, ensure adequate intake of essential micronutrients. So, it prevents deficiencies that can lead to health issues. So, again, supplements sila. Di sila yung main diet, pero binibigay mo as supplements yung mga mineral and vitamins natin. So, those are the classification of feedstuff by nutrient content. Okay, so again, as a review, we can classify them based on, like, the primary classification will be roughages, cons you have your concentrates, okay? You have your roughages, you have your concentrates, you also have your supplements and additives. Then, pag sinabi namang origin source, you have yung plant source, plant uh, uh, originated from plant, originated from animals, and then non-protein nitrogen sources. Then classification by nutrients, you have energy source, protein source, and mineral and vitamin source or supplements. Okay, so those are our classification of feedstuff. Now, we have here what we call as the International Feed Classification System, or the International Feed Identification System, that categorizes feedstuff into 8 classes. So the first four will be dry forages and roughages. Dry sila. You have yung hay, yung straw, then you also have pasture, range plants, and forage-fed green. Ito yung mga fresh grasses na hina-harvest mo as fresh. Then you have silages. Ito yung mga grasses that are fermented or forages that are fermented. And then you have energy feeds. Ito naman yung mga cereal grains natin. Okay? Then aside from that, you also have protein supplements. Ito yung mga soybean meal, fish meal. You also have mineral supplements like for example limestone, salt, vitamin supplements like for example vitamin premixes, and then additives like antibiotics and enzymes. So based on the International Feed Identification System, ito yung mga 8 na classes of feedstuff natin. Okay, so please remember that. So with that, that ends our the series of video lectures that I will be uploading this week. So I hope that you will find time to go over all of these video lectures as these are needed or these are included sa sa midterm examination ninyo. And aside from that, I have uploaded the table of specification for your midterm examination at the MVLE. So please go over it so that you will be guided on what topics you will be reviewing on the different type ng exam na ibibigay ko sa inyo for your midterm examination. So again, if you have any question, please feel free to ask me personally or message me through Messenger or any other social media platforms kung meron man. Okay, so again, if you are still here, thank you for listening.